wow. Okay. Hi, guys.
No. I just like to let it sit for like a couple seconds, see if we actually have anybody show up, because you guys are in the chat. Yay! So,
Yay.
all right, boys, girls, welcome back to the Automotive
language.
It's sign language, exactly. Boys, girls, welcome back to the Automotive Podcast. Podcast where you don't have to build model cars, but sure does help. This is episode 33. And in the room, you might notice there's more than like 3 people. There's actually like we're 2 people short of Hollywood Squares and or the Brady Bunch here.
Brady Bunch.
We have with us tonight almost all of the Model Car Mania Podcast. We are missing the illustrious Mr. Brian, BG Model Workshop. He is traveling with family to California. He's too important, I guess, priorities, right? But the rest of them are here. Below us here, from left to right, you have Mr. Jody Doyle. You have Mr. Jason Hanscom in the middle square. You have Mike, Scale Model Outlaw. And then down at the bottom in the Alice square, it's Justin Ryan. We're going to talk to these guys sort of in a more of a free-form format tonight. We have a lot of sort of hot topics of the hobby, as it were, or at least they were when I wrote these notebooks down. And we're probably beating dead horse on a couple of these by now. But these guys are, I guess, 2 podcasts into recording, but they haven't released them yet. So hopefully we're not going to cover any ground you guys have already discussed in depth in podcasts that are about to be dropped, but we'll see. And for the top guys here, for the rest of us, we all saw each other weekend before last at the Plastic Undercover up there, the Akron NNL. Talk about that a little bit. These guys are all chomping at the bit, at least Mikey is, to go to Acme here next weekend. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And so guys, it's been 2 weeks. What have you been up to, Mr. Tester? You guys were in Detroit you were just in Detroit, so
right.
Let us know how
ran into Mr. Weber. So John Weber, I met him in Arizona. He's a GT3 modeler, and he's the one that turned me on to the Miku cars. And I've always loved his work, and it always reminds me to take my time because his work is so nice. I rush through too much, and when I see his work, it reminds me to start taking my time. But anyways, I put the final polish on the 1080X Nissan Skyline R32. So this is ready to go. And I put clear on the Ferrari 296 GT3, which is an upcoming kit from PZY.
Ooh,
so,
wow. Nice. Very great.
Garfield. Yeah. So I'll start polishing this in a couple days.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
In my notes here, I have to ask James. You got the new Model Car Warehouse. Well, that's not the name at all. The MCW, the new MLT replacement thinner. You said you used that, so give me a first-hand report. Because my local coffee shop just got it in, and I know a lot of people were, debating because obviously unicorn tears can be a little hard to get a hold of sometimes.
I used it on this one. This is lacquer clear, believe it or not. I usually use 2K, but I wanted to try a lacquer clear as well as this one, lacquer. I took Mr. Hobby Mr. Hobby UV cut clear in a bottle, and I cut it 200%. So I had like 7.5 milliliters of paint, and I just doubled it and then tripled it actually with thinner. So it worked out just good. Flowed out real nice. I call it a good suitable replacement.
Excellent. You get a good chunk of that stuff for the money too. I'm not sure what the volume is on that bottle, but it's certainly bigger than 400 milliliters.
And it's $14, I think.
Yeah. Excellent. Mr. Sean, you also made the trip to Detroit.
Yep, I ran into Mr. Tester there. It was a pretty neat show. I'd never actually been to it was Detroit Auto Modelers. The Damn Show, I guess they call it.
The Damn Show.
Damn Show. They had a pretty good swap meet. It kind of reminded me sort of like the old days at back in the Toledo.
Right.
I bet it took me a good 2 hours just to even sort of comb through just the swap meet section.
Oh wow.
I bought a couple things, but yeah, it's a pretty cool show. I enjoyed it.
I just want to, just for the poops and giggles of it, because you shared it before, but I took some pictures of it in Akron, so we can all just ooh and ah at it. Let's all appreciate Sean's travel all one more time.
Nice.
That thing turned out really good.
This sounds awful to say, but like I didn't realize Sean was such a good builder, but I don't think I appreciated what a good builder Sean was until he joined us on this podcast. And now I've seen his work repeatedly, the NNLs and these shows, and like that's why I posted on your post about this when you posted it on your Facebook page. It was like Sean is secretly like one of the best builders nobody knows about because he doesn't do a big whole bunch of YouTube social media thing. Like I appreciate that everybody knows who Sean is, apparently except me, but like this is just ridiculously good stuff. It really is.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Again, I don't know if James, I didn't notice if you actually brought the raw print of this or not, but if you could appreciate what this was versus what it turned out to be.
I can because
that's Rodney. Yeah,
that's the Coach Builder Coach Builder file, correct?
Correct.
I have that kit, and it's been printed out for me. And looking at that compared to what I have, there's a lot of work being went into that one. That looks tremendous. I love it, man. It looks great.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really digging it. Although I got to say, as a figure guy, I'm a little disappointed it's not on a scenic base.
Well,
yeah.
I actually thought about it. I was like, I think that's maybe the next step. Actually, it's not. I don't know. Probably nobody probably caught it, but it actually has a hitch or a mount for a trailer hitch that I haven't added yet because I was thinking at some point it needs to be towing something. I just haven't decided what yet. So
yeah,
I think it may get an additional thing. And
I could print you a drag boat to go with it.
There you go.
Oh, I was going to say there's the other thing which I haven't even posted anything about yet.
That's cool.
But
That is cool.
Jimmy Flintstone van that I recently completed.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with the travel all, where the accessories, was that a separate file? Did you get those from the same guy, or was it all files that you just kind of accumulated, like the canoes and the spare tire rack and all that?
So the accessories, the steel bumper, all that stuff, completely scratch built. There's no 3D printed, no aftermarket stuff.
Man after your own heart, Jody.
Yes, sir.
And then the canoes are actually very old, rare, vintage canoes that were found in the MPC 69 Pontiac Bonneville kit.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
I ended up doing through my Facebook page. When I got that canoe, when I got the Travelall, me and James were going back and forth. I was like, that thing would look cool with a canoe on it. And so I actually reached out on my Facebook page, asked if any of my followers, if they had one. I was looking to buy them. I had 2 people offer one up. So I ended up buying them both. And then I was like, well, I really actually wanted an aluminum canoe. I didn't really want in the Pontiac kit, it's sort of labeled as an Indian Voyager, which I never could actually find a picture of what it's actually supposed to look at. But it's got sort of a vintage, I don't know. It's got an Indian vibe to it.
It definitely does, yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up modifying one of them into an aluminum, more of a modern look, and then the other one I just kind of painted right out of the box.
I dig that one. It ties the wood grain on the side of the truck, like it ties it all together. I
was
quick question though for you. Why in the world does a Pontiac Bonneville come with a canoe?
I don't know. Maybe it's Pontiac.
Anyhow,
yeah.
Didn't one of the full size Pontiacs tow a boat at one point from MPC too? Like the 70 Bonneville had a boat.
One of the Model King issues has this boat that they reissued them together. So.
Cool.
So this model, I probably spent 3 times the amount of time that I normally spend on a model. And so kind of a quick story. I had been laid off last year about this time last year, actually. And I'd been laid off for about 7 months looking for a job. And so normally I never spend that much time building a model. I'll spend maybe 20 or 30 hours on something and kind of, because I just don't have the attention span to kind of take on a big long-term project. And normally I would have bought a lot of like 3D printed accessories and stuff for it. But because I had plenty of time and no cash, I decided, you know what, I can scratch build these things. I can do this myself. And so I ended up putting way more time in than I normally would have. So yeah, but it was a fun build.
Came out fantastic. So
absolutely,
great.
Yeah, definitely.
Real nice work.
In my Sean notes before we let you go here, you were promoting, well, not promoting, but just talking about some sanding products that you got. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, let's see. The company what is it called? Crap, I remember the name. Is it?
You put him on the spot, James.
I did. I should have said something.
Oh, tools. These guys. So they reached out to me and sent me a bunch of things to try, even though I don't have a YouTube channel like you guys. These sanding sticks are great. I got these little, I'm totally unprepared, but I got these little sanding pads. They're awesome. I like using them.
So they look like they're about the same size as the Infinity sticks, which are, everybody knows how big those are. They're not quite as big as an emery board. So, and I'm pretty bad about tools. I'm like the very last person to get it. I'm just paper, that's probably 20 years old. So I had never had any of those little foam sanding sticks before. So actually, they're pretty cool.
They are.
So I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah. You can get them on Amazon, I think.
And the last thing that was on there, because you just posted about it too, is you got a early production shot of the 65 Barracuda, which you don't have to show me, but I was just going to say, what did you think about it so far? But
yeah, it's cool. Actually,
he's up on top of it. That he has prepared.
So this one's went to the top of my build list, and I actually did the box art for this too. So that one's just going to get built stock. Although I have a gaffer chassis that I'm building, and I kind of was looking at it like, maybe this should be a gaffer. It doesn't look really cool as a gaffer.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to get stock because I really want to build a stock one.
Trophy truck.
What color?
I haven't decided. I think either like sort of that turbine bronze color or gold. I see a lot of the gold ones, so I probably end up doing bronze. Just didn't do something a little bit different, but.
Yeah, I'd appreciate the fact you asked what color it should be, and then people had some very definite opinions in not a oh you should, but rather you are going to paint that this color.
That gold with the black stripes always really good contrasting color on it. Looks good.
Yeah,
it looks great in the gold. I think I'm going to see a bunch of them built that way, so I think I'm going to do something just a little bit different. And I actually don't have anything copper in my build collection, so.
There's a gentleman up here that has a 1-to-1 one of those, and it's like a pale yellow with a black interior, and that thing is beautiful in that color.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gifted this one a couple years ago. This is an original, and a friend of mine from my local club gave it to me. It's a glue bomb, but I think it'd be kind of neat to restore this thing at some point.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe give it back to him. The glass actually isn't that bad. I think it could be cleaned up and polished out. It's pretty much everything but one wheel. So, and I saw that they're coming out with that, and I was like, that's really cool. I'm definitely grabbing some. My dad had a black 65 when I was a kid. It was one of the earliest cars I remember. So it'd be cool to build one of those.
Nice. So I know the first release of this is going to be the Craftsman kit. And I say the first release. So I suspect maybe, another release at some point in the future.
Nice.
If it follows the 63 Nova, then you can just go on Scale Mates and figure out what's coming.
Yeah,
next.
right.
The 63 Nova, which we'll look at here in a second, is coming out, and it's basically this final variation that it did originally, and those releases came out and followed the way that original kit was done. So for our guests here, we'll start with Jody. Give us a little, the cliff notes. We don't need to spend half an hour on everybody, but what you build, where you're from, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
all the good things. Because again, you're the one about the social media channel, so we need to these guys. People here on YouTube, regardless of whether or not they're fans of ours or fans of yours, they know who they are. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I live in kind of the northern part of Vermont. Burlington, Vermont's kind of a popular city. And I'm above Burlington by about 15 or 20 minutes. So
don't they have a coat factory up there?
I've yet to see it. Yeah, there could be. I'm about 10 minutes from Canada, so I'm quite a ways up. Primarily a car builder, but I'm trying kind of over my left shoulder over here. I have a whole rack of military stuff, so I'm trying to kind of bridge more outside of my comfort zone. I've always said I like to be a good, well-rounded modeler, and when I go to shows, we've had 3 here over the last 4 weeks up here locally, and when you see somebody that really has their stuff together on a military build and the detail and the painting, it's just, it's way above kind of where we are, and those guys all say, well, I can't paint shiny, so I think being well-rounded and having the ability to kind of do both those things well is pretty good, but I've really gotten into a lot of kit bashing. I like taking a couple kits and making one. I'm kind of new to the 3D printed parts. I built a couple builds this year with 3D printed wheels and engines and stuff. So I use a lot of just cheap acrylic craft paint, on a lot of my builds, which makes the fur fly a little bit. But pretty much if I can thin it and I can spray it, I'm going to spray it. So, when you look at my stuff on a show table, or if you come and visit and I show you stuff, it really does run the gamut of rattle can, Duplicolor, to automotive paint, to craft paint, to Tamiya acrylics, to Tamiya lacquer. It really depends on the color and the thing that ultimately looks the best on the model.
Jody, you had my heart pounding there for a second.
Yeah. I have a whole 2 bins full of automotive paint over here. I'm like, I really should start using that more. Yeah. And I've got, I just completed this 56 Nomad with flames, and I used PPG DBC Deltron base coat on that. I bought this pint of paint a number of years ago to do some work on a truck I had, never used it. And when I was getting ready to do the Nomad, I was like, oh, that would look really good in that color, and when you use cheap craft paint and then you use $150 pint of paint, they definitely spray a little bit differently. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I kind of befriended Jason, kind of tracked him down, and with that came Tim Ryan and Mikey and Justin and, Frankie Steffens and all these great people that I met at NNL East, and kind of finding my way. I do have a Instagram, VW Jody, and I try to get more people over there. I try to post stuff on there, but other than Facebook pages and stuff like that, I'm just kind of the unknown guy, I guess, and that's okay. So yeah,
nothing wrong with that, man.
Now, what are you working on right now?
Right now I am working on a couple things. Actually, I'm working on a Vote Corsair F4U1D Tamiya kit. My local club, Mount Mansfield Scale Modelers, we have an airplane build going on right now. So I'm currently working through that. Jason, Justin, Mikey, myself, Tim Ryan, we all started a Sherman Easy 8 build Tamiya tank. So I've just barely started that. I'm also friends and a member of the Town of Newburgh Model Club, and we're doing a rat rod build right now. So I've got the 29 Model A on the bench, doing a kind of a weathered paint job on that. Use the hairspray chipping method to kind of weather it and chip up the paint. So that one's currently going, and a couple other things. I try not to get too many things going at once, because then nothing really gets done, and I really try to focus just to continue moving forward and have kind of closure on them before moving on. But as you know, after about a month or so, you start kind of slipping past that point of giving a crap about it. So you got to kind of strike quickly while the iron's hot to get some stuff done. But that's pretty much it. Pretty broad variety. A car, a plane, a tank. Working on all those currently. So
wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mr. Justin, who I just realized about 5 minutes ago has a background set up.
Yeah, I don't actually tickle those ivories.
Yeah, that's
your camera boom is flaking in and out. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is that? Oh,
well, why does it keep flashing?
Exactly. So Justin, amongst being on the podcast that all these guys are on, is also part of the Modeling Insanity podcast, which is a more armor-centric podcast, I would say. And then you are probably, out of everybody, because I know these guys are trying to build other stuff, you're really the multi-subject guy. So again,
absolutely,
give us the rundown.
I'm a Swiss Army knife in life, in model building. Basically I say if it's cool shit, I build it. I'm actually kind of known as a figure guy, which really just only became that because I would always do figures to go along with the build that I was doing because it brings life to the subject. And I ended up joining a club, the MFCA, Miniature Figure Collectors of America Club. We meet here once a month, just on the other side of the river. By the way, I'm in Hatboro. It's a suburb of Philly. And we meet at AAA Hobbies. But I've always done everything, always throw the figures in there just because it brings life, it brings some perspective. That's pretty much what I do. I've been in collision repair for 25 years. So for a while I was causing some paint shenanigans over at one of those ubiquitous Facebook pages that shall go unnamed temporarily, but everybody knows. But typically I would cause the havoc for the people that were D-bags about their answers, not anything else. I don't go after the innocent people that don't know. I go after I've been doing it for 30 years. I ain't never had a problem. But don't want to share what they've been doing for the past 30 years and never got problems. So,
right.
That's kind of me in a nutshell. Co-host of the Insanity podcast, co-host of the Mania podcast, an all-around hell of American.
And what are you working on right now other than the tank that all the Sunday guys are doing?
What the hell am I not working on? God damn. Why are you coming at me with these hard-ass questions? How much time do we have? I got a 30-second scale de Havilland Mosquito in the works. I put that aside for a little bit just because I was getting frustrated with it. Not that it's a bad kit, just, there's a lot to it. Also started working on an F-14 Tomcat from Tamiya. That's actually in the paint stages, but there's a lot of paint work that needs to be done on that. So I put it on the back burner for now. Got the Tamiya Sherman build, only mine is a Ryfield models because I happen to have it in the stash and I wasn't about to go buy another model. I've got plenty as it is. And I got a 32 Ford that's like so close to the finish line. I should probably just finish the damn thing, but And then as part of the podcast, I don't know if anybody out there listens to all the other podcasts, but we do we call it the Musuru Cup. It's a little challenge between all the podcasts. And I was selected this year to be the builder for the Insanity. And so I'm working on a Sylvia S15. Going full on insane on this thing. I've never done this much modification to a model in my life. I found a very shittily printed, 3D printed wide body kit, front bumper, oh my God, the sanding that I've had to do on this thing. Oh my God. I don't think I've had to sand that much on a freaking 1-to-1 car in my career. But it's coming along. Jason is, and he'll get to it, but he is building for the Mania. But so everybody has to build in this particular instance. Everybody has to build the same subject, which is in this instance, Fast and Furious style 2000 Street Racer. So that's kind of like the big project I got going on.
Nice.
That's about it, I think.
That sounds fun.
Mikey, you're falling asleep over there in the corner.
Wake up.
I promise I'm not falling asleep. What was the question?
Are you saying I'm boring?
No, remember, I'm the guy that's not talented or funny.
That's right.
Same old, you know, but got done the YouTube stuff. And, well, actually, it started in 1969. Dad bought a Roadrunner, and then Mom became really good friends with him. And then I came along in 71.
Then the earth cooled.
Look at Jason shaking his head going, I brought this guy here. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Nah, man, same old for everybody. It's like everybody else, you know. Started when I was a kid. My older brother built model cars, and I, you know, always idolized him. So I got involved with it. I like to say, you know, you get a little bit older and you get the case of the fumes, the gas fumes and the perfumes. Stole that straight from Fred Henry, but you know, same old built for him. And then about 5 years ago, I had a 1-to-1 shop where I built off-road Jeeps, and it was also a huge storage unit for me. Everything that I'd been carrying around for, at that time, 46 years or 48 years, was just kind of ended up there. And I was moving boxes around one day, and I found a box, and I had 16 NASCAR models in it from the 90s. Was when I stopped building the old Monogram and AMT NASCAR models. And I thought, you know what, it'd be a great idea to get back into this, something to, you know, like I said, it was a 1-to-1 shop and a business owner. So I needed to do something for my mental health, to get away from that, you know, that stress of that. And that was like 4 years ago. Got to meet guys like Jason, and then, you know, everybody through the podcast and through the good old YouTubes, got to meet a bunch of great people. And I went from 16 kits to, what you see back there, entirely too many. But I like to paint with mostly automotive paints. I'm a big scale finishes guy. I love the scale finishes paint. I just started dabbling with, yes, I do sleep in my hobby room. It is my bedroom. No, I don't live with my mommy yet. My girlfriend's probably going to kick me out sooner or later, but that's what the big building for her outside. But no, I like scale finishes. I just recently discovered tropical glitz paint, and if you guys saw maybe on the YouTubes or on the Facebook, I just finished up my USAC build from last year, and painted it. There was a 68 Dart, but I painted it up with their yellow submarine yellow, and had really good luck with it. I really like that paint. Pretty awesome stuff. But, as far as what I'm working on now, again, we'll go back to my big brother. Once he got done building model cars, he got into dirt track racing. He has two Northeast modifieds. He has a big block car and a small block car, and I am currently building his small block car, which with that white kind of washes out pretty bad. But Mr. Tester, you might be familiar with this file. It's a 3D file. My good friend Matthew Inman from MCV Products printed this up for me. There's the Pepsi Blue. That's the base color for the Northeast modified. But this thing used to come on the file. It all comes in like one piece. It's really a clunky file. So I separated these pieces. I took the front axle out of this one so I could paint it black. A lot of hacking and whacking on it, but so it's been a little bit more work than just, you know, right out of the box. But again, Matthew did a great job of printing it, but it's just kind of a clunky file. It's like a die-cast type file. So you know, I cut the bars off of it and just took a lot of time with it and getting that worked out, because again, it's my big brother, so I'm going to give it to him for Christmas. And I want.
You're lucky it didn't split when you cut it.
I got 4 of them. I have several friends that printed them up for me, and what I discovered, and I don't know if this works on all the resins. I know there's different types of resins and whatever. What I discovered when I painted this chassis first with the Tamiya white primer, and then I started cutting on it with the white primer. I don't know if that made a difference or not, but I take my little what do they call it? The photo etch saw that goes into the blade holder, and just carefully took my time and saw it. I've not, knock on wood, I've not broke anything off. I got I got a little brave with the brake rotors and calipers are molded into the front axle on this thing. I got a little brave with it and got in there with my cutters and actually cut that out, but it was painted. Okay. And then I was, and I don't know, again, I don't know for sure if the paint made a difference or not, or just maybe because it was the fourth one I hacked up and I learned some lessons along the way. But I was able to cut that clunky brake rotor and caliper out of there and still leave the knuckle and the steering linkages all in there. And, you cut it close and then sand it down the rest of the way. You get as close as you can and always leave a little bit of meat there to sand down. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. But we were talking behind the scenes about the Hoonigan Mustang. That one there was the same way. When I got it, it's just so clunky. I put it back in the bag and threw it in the ground. That one was horrible. But this one is a really, really good print, and I can't thank Matthew enough for this one. It's turning out really awesome. I'm impressed with it.
Nice.
Everybody look at Justin's cat. Oh,
let me tell you, this damn cat. He sees me sit at my bench and goes, "Oh, it's time for him to hold me."
It's Jason, best for last, or you've been on this podcast before, so you don't need to be like fully introduced, but give us the rundown of like what you're working on and stuff like that.
So right now I actually am not working on a Sherman tank. I'm probably the only one that isn't like feverishly started theirs. I got plenty of time. I'm actually working on an AMT F-18 Hornet that I'm doing up as a NASA chase plane. That's going surprisingly well, actually, for a car builder. I'm calling it the twin Camaros. I'm doing 2 69 Camaros, one bone stock, one as a pro stock. And I have a Revell Ferrari 612 that I am also turning into a pro stock that I don't know how it happened, but I affectionately call it the spaghetti and meatballs build. And that has stalled, actually. I really should get to work on that a little bit more, but that's it right now.
You gonna do 12-cylinder?
Well, no. I actually have a 3D printed Proline Hemi that I was gonna put in it, but I am thinking about using the factory Ferrari 12-cylinder at this point because I don't want to cut the hood.
I get you.
And if I put the Proline in it, I'm gonna have to cut the hood, and I don't want it to lose those lines, those beautiful Ferrari lines. I just want it to have giant meats under the back and wheelie bars sticking out of it, right? So if it's a pro stock, realistically, it should have a Ferrari motor in it. At least that's what I'm telling myself at this point. So
I mean, that would be pretty badass. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive with them giant tubs in the back.
Well, no, a 612 is actually front engine.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Who does that? That's dumb.
Get Ferrari on the phone right now.
Exactly.
I'd like to have a talk with them.
Yeah, what were they thinking? Anyway, but yeah, that's all I've got on the bench right now.
No. He didn't mean it. No, sorry.
Right. Actually,
I ain't afraid of the Italians.
Oh God, can you stop? Please? I take that back. I'm also working on the Musaru Cup. That is an Aoshima RX-7 that I'm kind of keeping close to the vest. I don't want to give away too much because I am in a friendly competition with my good buddy Bad Santa down there. So. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out.
Dean Scale Model Zone's telling Mr. Chester that he finished his first anime decal car, the Fujimi Squid Girl Prius. I'd like to thank you for turning me onto those. So
don't blame me in 5 years when you have a whole collection of them.
Nice.
All right, so like we said, we're not gonna go into a whole what PSI does your cats fart at while your air booth is on kind of thing. We're going to have a whole bunch of discussion topics. And we're also, again, going to look at new kits. And I'm not going to do all the new kits back to back because then we'd be here for an hour and everyone would fall asleep. But first up on the new kits thing is the recent Revell releases. You guys can feel free to comment on the picture here. So the Release of the 85 GMC Jimmy, which is a retool or a modified reissue of the new tool Blazer. You got your convertible version of your Corvette, which obviously is off the new tool C8. You have the 10-4 Good Buddy reissue of the 79 Jeep J10, which has the camper shell, the light rack, and this half a push bar thing that hasn't been seen since 1981. For whatever reason, this version is never reissued.
Yeah.
You have a convertible version of the 68 Corvette, which is 90s era Revell tooling. And then up here on the top is the thing that everybody got all excited about because everybody wants the car. Everybody wants this Formula Malibu Grand Prix car that's attached to this snap-tight square body of that trailer. Thoughts, complaints?
I like that Jeep. I definitely want the Jeep.
Yeah, that J10. I did the what was the snow machine? The one that had the sled with it.
Yeah.
Ice Patrol, was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I did that one. I made it into a flatbed work truck, but anytime I see an AMC or anything Jeep, I always get big eyes. I'm like, oh, gotta have one of those.
And I'm just the opposite. As a Jeep guy, I suffer enough with my 1-to-1 Jeep. I want nothing to do with a model kit of one. I am very interested in that 68 Corvette, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful box art on that one. That was really
That
nice.
is. Yeah, I think that's what caught my eye the most is. Plus, it's an up-top convertible. I like the idea of that.
Yeah, Revell was not always the most willing participant in up-top convertibles. There's a lot of times where they release a convertible of something, and then you had to buy another version of it to get the hardtop.
Well, so yeah, I like to build stock Eliminator cars from time to time, and they'll race convertibles, and they're always with the convertible top is up. So that's how and you can't get them. Like that 69 Camaro from Revell, I'd love to have an up top for that, but I don't know where to get one. I don't think I've ever seen one. So,
Yeah, I guess there hasn't been any. I don't think anybody's ever done an up top.
I don't think so either. I'd love to have one. I'd be a buyer for every up top you can make for whatever convertible kits are out there.
Say a great example of Revell's interesting choices would be the 62 Corvette. Came out as a roadster, but if you want the hardtop, the up top for it, you have to buy the gasser version.
Yeah.
Oh,
The stock version, you don't need a roof for that. That's a convertible only. You want
Exactly.
I'm not a drag builder. I'm sorry, I'm just not. And it's like I'm not going to buy a $30 model kit for a piece to put onto the other model kit. It's just not functionally worth it. So
that Jeep pickup, just real quick. I've said this before in this podcast. That is right subject matter for a brand new, all new tool because there's so many different variations of those Jeep pickups and Cherokees that you could build.
Yeah. So is that not the Wagoneer?
Well, I was going to say, the FSJ platform, the FSJ being full-size Jeep platform, was the Wagoneer, the two-door Wagoneer, the four-door Wagoneer, the two-door Cherokee Chief, the J truck, all the J trucks.
A ton of different variations off that.
Yeah. And you can go all the way back to Kaiser's era with the M715.
Right.
And you really can do a lot of stuff on that same platform.
Yeah. And then that Revell one, I mean, I like Revell, but that one's not a great kit. It's like the body proportions are kind of weird and it lacks a lot of
detail. It could have a lot more.
It would be cool as a Wagoneer, a Grand Wagoneer kit, though.
If they got it proportioned right, yeah.
So
I build models.
That's my boy.
So first hot button topic here. So before the guys at the Triple P, the Plastic Podcast, departed for Europe, they had an episode, and on the episode, one of the talking points they had was that show themes are pointless. Now, I know this will get certain people's goats because Sean has won an award for a show theme at NNL, and I know Jason builds for his show themes at Classic Plastic all the time. And so I will give the exemption that a large show, something like NNL East, something like Acme, something like the IPMS Nationals, that's a big enough show that's going to have a big enough draw of just models in general, right? Because NNL East is what, 1,500 models. IPMS Nationals is 3,000-4,000, stuff like that. So that's maybe a slight deviation from that. And building for your own club is also the deviation from that, because like we all do that stuff. But as somebody who has been in a club prior that did the show theme constantly, man, that turns into an internal bicker every year. So I see the point of that. Like, it's always an argument. There's always one guy that has got a bunch of stupid ideas that nobody wants to do, and then gets all butthurt about the fact that nobody wants to do them. I did the show theme for that club for about 4 years in a row. And every year it was like, well, if he's just going to do it, he might as well just run the contest. It's like, no, you're suggesting we do customs as a show theme, and we have customs as a class. So are we just cannibalizing the class to have a show theme? Like, what's the point of that?
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing that they said, and I tend to agree with, and this is sort of the general question, is no one ever goes to a model show because of what the theme is. Like, has anybody actually ever looked at a flyer and gone like, oh, they're doing this NNL East, the 63rd anniversary of 1963. Stop the presses, book me an airplane flight. That's the reason I'm going to Wayne, New Jersey this year.
Right.
I belong to an IPMS club here in Pittsburgh. We don't do show themes. We do specials. Looking at the show that, I don't know if Sean's been talked into it by James or not, but James and I will be at the Cleveland IPMS show next weekend. And if you look at their flyer, one of the specials is for automotive is flip up headlights, right? So your Vets, your Ferraris,
I didn't even know
stuff like that. But that's a special, right? You're not cannibalizing any kind of class for that. It's just whatever it has flip up headlights just gets a box checked as being a theme award. So thoughts, club drama, and the fact that you really don't ever travel to it aside. Is there I think the idea of special awards is more productive than the idea of having theme awards. Because like, I went to a little podunk model show over the weekend. Theme was beach theme. That was literally the theme, beach theme. This in from the redundant Department of Redundancy. Yeah. And it was like Tom Daniel's garbage truck and a couple in like that little weird amphicar thing and a couple of like other little weirdos, and like it was, I guess that's beach themed. Like the tiki rod has a little cardboard tiki hut that comes with it, but like there were 5 models in that, and I know for our club we had several years where the theme class had nothing in it, so we didn't even give the trophy award away. So
we got to pick a cool theme. I mean, you got to pick a theme that like people are interested in building in.
Exactly. I was going to say, I can speak to the drama to a small extent with our club. This year they were voting on next year's themes, and it was like show rods. Cool. Yeah. Everybody raise your hand. Great. We'll do show rods. But wait a minute. We have a show rods category. So how you do that?
Right.
So it can be tough. The themes for this past show were Tri-5s and 1963. So, I mean, I wasn't excited about building for either one, to be honest with you. But because it was my club show, I did. I didn't do the 63. I didn't have time. I was going to do the Tamiya Gullwing, the Mercedes Gullwing. But I ran out of time building all the other stuff I had. So I built a Tri-5. But I wasn't thrilled about it because it was a Tri-5. I mean, how many times can you build one of those before you're bored with it?
Right.
So if it wasn't for the fact that it was my club show, I wouldn't build for themes because I don't see a point in it.
But I think I always try to play the devil's advocate with these things, but I think the themes are good because if it ultimately is going to get you out of a funk or get you to build something that you typically would not, right? I mean, I built that 56 Nomad, and I wasn't necessarily going to build that, but I knew that the Classic Plastic Show had the Tri-5 theme, right? So that was kind of some motivation. I built this F100 Mobius custom that I brought to NNL East because the web theme was Mobius trucks.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have typically built probably either one of those things. And I went outside the comfort zone because both had 3D printed wheels and 3D printed engines. And it was pretty much the first time that I've done that for any kit. But that was based off the theme of that,
Yeah.
So I think there's some good and some bad into it. But as you said, okay, show rods next year, fine. Well, what about the show rod category? Classic plastic, there was a pretty good contingent of Tri-5 Chevys, but not as big as one think it would be, being that that's a really popular era of that automobile,
Yeah.
It's like, but look at the you guys that went to NNL East, right? Look at how many freaking NASCAR cars were there, right? I mean, that was like overwhelming number of model kits, right?
Yeah, so, that's because Billy brought 100 of them, right?
He brought his whole collection, yes. So
yeah.
So I think it's good and bad, but I'm not in a club where we're kind of, I'm in a club and, we try to figure out a theme, right? And it's like, I'm really kind of indifferent to that, other than maybe that would be the spark and or motivation to build something that you normally wouldn't build,
Yeah, well, so I love the idea of something like flip up headlights. That's great, because that's such a broad spectrum of stuff you could build.
Yeah.
Versus 1963. I mean, it was tough, and that's honestly why that got skipped, because I did plan to build something, but it just fell so far back on the priority list because it was, I don't know, I just wasn't happy about it. Well, not happy. I can't say I wasn't unhappy. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Great. If everybody wanted to build something for 63, great. But for me, words are tough right now. It's way past my bedtime.
What?
Yeah.
It's not even
it's got to be something exciting. Listen, both of you guys, stop for a minute. You got to have something that's exciting as a theme. Tri-5s is, you say it was a big, people were popular with it, right? Well, but 2 years ago, we did Tri-5s for another theme. And so it was like, we just did this. Why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Right.
So James and I went to a show in Zanesville. I think the theme was
music cars. Yeah.
Music. It actually had there was a lot of stuff there.
That was a lot of variety.
Yeah.
For music, huh? See, that again strikes me as something that wouldn't be very broad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could build.
They made the winners sing the song.
I'm out.
I'm out.
That was kind of weird.
Tapping out. Yeah.
I'm gonna take just the opposite of what Jody said. For me, both group builds and these show themes, if it's something that I'm already going to be doing or wanted to do or was on my build list anyway, take for instance both the USAC build last year and the Acme theme this year. Mopar, anything drag racing is the theme at Acme, and of course the last year's USAC build was the 68 Dart. So I kind of did a 3-in-1 there, right? I did the Dart, missed the deadline for USAC, but did the Dart that now I could take to Acme and show in either anything drag racing or in the Mopar class. I used to get involved in too many group builds on stuff that maybe wasn't as interested in as other stuff. So now if it's something that comes up that I'm interested in, then I'll get involved with it if the time frame's right. I'm going to be late anyway, but at the same time, if it's something I'm going to already build, then I don't feel like I'm doing it for the group build or being pressured to do it. I've heard, and nobody buys anything that I build, but I heard that commission builds are very much like that. You're having to get it done, and it's not necessarily what you want to do.
It becomes work.
Yeah, it becomes work.
Right. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there and just say you're all wrong.
I expected nothing less.
Well, you know what? Anyway, coming from the perspective, so I went up to the Classic Plastic Show, and I actually leapfrogged from ArmorCon. So I went to ArmorCon, Amps, Nats. They all have a show theme. Now, that show theme does not become the sole thing, right? So this year, I think ArmorCon's show theme was anything named after animals. So there wasn't a category of show theme. It was, everything went into its category, but you marked your entry form with possible for show award.
Gotcha.
And, anything German, anything jagged tiger, jagged panther, panthers, tigers, all of that stuff, they all were in the show theme. This year for Amps Nats and 26, it's Vietnam. So there's not going to be a specific category. You know what I mean? It's going to be, you could do a figure, a vignette, anything that goes back to Vietnam War, from when the French decided they wanted to run the show to all the way to 75 when the war, quote unquote, officially ended. And that's how I'll say we do it on the armor side. It's a box you check on your entry form that it can be included. That way you're not robbing one category to fill another category.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Granted, we also don't do first, second, third in most of our cases, so that's a totally different ball game as well. But no, I've seen the show theme treated as an auxiliary award, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think
I like
something
it.
I think it was something like Tri-Fives. The idea behind that from an organization perspective is like, nobody might be building a new one, but you got an old one laying around. Everybody's building a Tri-Five, so go dig it out of the back of the cabinet and
shine it up and throw it in the show.
Yeah, because like TAMS, which is the group that down in Norfolk that runs the automotive show down there, their theme, I don't know what it is for this year, but last year it was pony cars. So Camaros, Firebirds, Barracudas, the AMX stuff. Like, okay, well, everybody's built one of those. So let me go dig through my cabinet and figure out where the hell my Firebird went.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, when it's its own class, I think the show theme very quickly becomes a drain on everything else.
Absolutely.
I guess,
and again, I don't think anybody, it may be like, ooh, something I built fits into a show I'm going to, but nobody goes like, oh, again, it's the main theme, because Dean just brought up about, doesn't NNL have a show theme? Yeah, the show theme this year is the 63rd anniversary of 1963, which I'm sure Jason is thrilled about, because here's another 1963 thing. But like, if you're looking at that from like a modeling perspective, there's there's two 63 Corvettes and like a whole bunch of old annuals. There's not really a lot of 1963 specific model cars out there, and it's and I know that was the theme of whatever the 17th, because right now the NNL is like recycling the theme of their shows from 20 years ago. So that was like the theme of the 17th NNL or whatever it was. And I have something like, I'm gonna build it. Let's sit back and throw our heads back and laugh that I'm gonna build anything. But like, I have something that I could build for that I think is outside the box. You wouldn't normally think of it as being like in that theme, but it's a very boxed, it's literally very boxed in theme. This year, very few models for it. And you're sort of like Jason was saying with the gull wing. Okay, they made that in 1963, but I don't think that's a 1963 specific gull wing. So
no, but I was going to go with it because it was the only thing that really struck my fancy.
My argument last year about the circle track thing was anybody should have been able to enter that, because unless it's drag racing or rally racing, if you start and end at the same place, technically it's a circle. I don't care how many curves there are in between the beginning and the end of that lap. So
now when it comes to building for a show theme, you could use that as an inspiration. You know what I mean? Like if you find yourself in a rut, the old mojo is depleted because you were frozen and fat bastard sucked your mojo out. And you need to spark something. Boom, show theme. Already ready, as they used to say. So
isn't the red, white, and blue the next year's one of them?
Yeah, that's the wet theme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a secondary theme. The wet theme gets announced the 15th of January.
Oh, that's right. They haven't announced that yet. Yeah, primary 63 and then red, white, and blue.
Yep. Yeah. Which, okay, race cars, right? Like, there's not that many. Like, there's some 1976 annuals that had red, white, and blue in them, but like, yeah.
Hanscom, drag out that Rambler Scrambler. You're already done, buddy.
Yep, there you go. Bringing that. It's decided.
Locked in already.
Yep.
Pull it out of the case, polish it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk round two. Round two was these are my pictures from Akron. placard here with the 65 Coronet 500. It's a reissue of the Polar Lights kit with an engine that was tooled up for it way back when that they never released. So technically it's a new kit, but technically it's not. The BRE themed Datsun pickup, which is the old Californian as far as the like over fenders and stuff like that with new decals. The Hot Wheels kit is an old show rod from the 1960s, the name of which escapes me right now. Sean might remember. The 57 Chevy is the flip nose. God help us all. The 27 Touring T, we'll talk about a little bit more in a second because it has some parts put back into it. And then I totally understand that there are some people who the show rod thing is a thing for them, but this goofy thing, this whatever the hell, the Death Valley dragger wagon here, like the people were taking some good dope in Michigan. That's all I'm gonna say.
The old stogie.
Yeah. So on the table they had built up and 3D prototypes. This is the 63 Nova wagon in its Indy drag combo. This is the way the kit came out last. So it's a curbside 63 Nova wagon with the Rat Packer 63 Nova gasser, which is ironically what the 63 Nova wagon turned into, and then a trailer for it. This is the Hemi that we're just talking about. So it's the Polar Lights kit, which people will argue about its proportions. They're going to reissue the 2004 Pontiac GTO, which is AMT Ertl Johnny Lightning kit that was done during the Racing Champions era. Your mileage may vary. They're going to reissue the 51 Chevy hardtop, which is going to have a set of, I think these are Kelsey mags thrown back in for the first time since like the 1970s.
I just did all new box art for that, the Chevy Bel Air.
One of the things at the show that was the big news was they're going to reissue the 63 Pontiac Le Mans convertible.
That guy got primer on his windshield.
Yeah, he did. The original Pontiac Le Mans series got turned into a drag race subject, and so the body was savaged for that. Turns out that most of the tooling still existed for the interior of the chassis and all the custom parts, because this was a 3-in-1 back in the day. So this is getting like a new body put onto it with your mileage may vary with the vintage thing because it's like a promo style chassis, and I know a lot of people don't like that necessarily. I don't particularly think, I like to have my pieces separate too, but it's not going to make or break my decision on buying one. But it's interesting to have back. I would presume, based on talking to Steve, that additional versions of this, perhaps with more roof, may come at later dates. They're going to take their old 69 Ford Mustang and turn it into the car from the John Wick movie. This is going to have a substantial amount of work done to the front and rear fascias to make them not so bad as they were, which is nice because holy moly, that original kit's pretty rough. The side trim is separate in case you don't want to build the movie car. They went and redid the mirrors. They're pinned now, so you don't have to try to guess where they go. The hood scoop is also keyed for the new hood, so it'll fit. Holy crap, what a concept, right? This Tudor sedan's coming back. This is getting a new body, an entirely new body, along with a new window frame, new windshield, and a new light rack for the headlights. The rest of it rides the 33 Vicky chassis and componentry. So basically, if it's white, it's new. If it's beigey, it's the old kit. This has not been released in a really, really long time because the body got screwed up somewhere along the line. So that's coming back out. If I could go remember which way to press. This is the touring wagon. It's getting a bunch of its customizing parts back. It's hard to see in this picture because only like one thing is gray, but it's getting a new steering column, the custom dashboard, the custom rear window treatment, and a bunch of the front suspension that is the custom parts of the suspension is getting redone. It's Steve said it's about 15 new pieces to bring it back to the way it was when it was originally put out. The 65 Barracuda we just talked about with Sean. The 60 Nomad station wagon.
I dig it.
The Hellcat, the wide body Charger.
Yep.
And the 72 Plymouth Duster 340. So all four of those are in production now and should be out by the end of the year.
They said January, I think.
Well, December, January. I think it's going to depend on your distribution and how soon it gets to your hobby shop, kind of thing.
Right.
Did you guys see the new truck that they just announced in Detroit?
I had
the B model Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I'm not a big truck modeler, but that looks cool. Like, I
cool.
Get one of those and make like a hot rod.
Yeah,
Right. Out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as oh, come on. I hate when the StreamYard, when you share a lot of stuff, because you guys don't do it on your Sunday show, it gets a little slow when you do it
There it is.
over and over
right.
again. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. As a trucker, I don't build truck models because too much of it is wrong, and I know what's right about them. But I love like that 5060 Mac. So
yeah, that's really cool.
That would look good with them 3D printed, the aftermarket 3D printed wheels. Slam that thing down to the ground.
Yeah.
Matte black it out. Yeah.
Settle down there.
It's
It's
also going to look really good straight out of the box, Mikey.
Yeah. I know. You keep telling me that.
I thought the best reaction to that online has been everybody telling everybody it was fake news or it was AI or and then people who were at the Detroit show were going, no, it was at AMT's booth. Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
1,000 people.
Well, that booth was AI.
That's right.
The whole booth fake news. So, any additional thoughts before we move on there about any of that?
I like
nice
building
to see
models.
that GTO coming back out.
I'm excited about that Datsun, believe it or not. That's a cool looking little truck.
I'm a wagon guy.
I was going to say the wagon and the wide body Charger are the only two out of that whole thing that really does anything for me.
We could tell. Look at those nipples.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, I'm no longer embarrassed by you. It's now.
Listen, Alabama's got to have its Mississippi. Justice by Mississippi.
That's why these guys do an audio podcast, so they can't be seen.
Yep, 100%.
So what other Revell project that just got announced, and I showed this to Jason, and I know he's as thrilled about it as I am, and I know my two guys are as thrilled about this as I am. When Revell did their information drop at the beginning of this year, one of the things that was just a blank placard was Stranger Things Season 5 Model Car 124 scale. And everybody on the internet, of course, went wild because there's a lot of cars on Stranger Things that would be very interesting to have. There's a very nice 80s BMW. Obviously, they made the Camaro. They did the Pizza Wagon, the reissue of the Vanagon, and they did the Blazer. And so what we're going to get, holy mother of God, why was this a decision, is this godforsaken full-size Chevy van. It ties into the show because apparently in the season 5, I've never watched season 1 through 4, so none of this means anything to me. But season 5, this is like a radio van, and they drive around in it a lot. But
are you telling me that that's got a one-piece chassis? Even
I was going to say, take a gander at that chassis if you would. Holy mother of simplicity!
It's like a snap kit.
You build that thing in a weekend.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I see that thing painted white and rusty and free models inside written all over the sides.
Yeah.
Don't forget the audio that's blasted. Me and my Chevy van, and that's right. All right with me.
Now, it's been pointed out that it has full interior components, and a lot of it ends up getting covered. It's impossible to see in all this because it's just parts laying around. But this is like a cabinet system that goes up against the driver's side wall. So there's basically like a full interior to this that's not like just a panel van interior. And I guess the roof being separate leads you to believe that maybe something else could be done here. Somebody who looked at this said they saw a Chevy emblem, because this is supposed to be a GMC van. And the only difference between Chevys and GMC of this era was the Chevys had a Chevy logo on the grill and GMCs didn't. And somebody said, "Oh, I see a Chevy logo, so it's going to come out as a Chevy van." Oh, good. A second one of these. Yay. It's not snap tight. Also, in the Revell recent nonsense, they're not chroming things, because like this would be chromed. All of this would be chromed, but you're obviously not chroming the roof of the van. Yeah, I mean it's there. It's something. It's
You know, I prime everything before I paint it, but blue is a really weird decision for plastic for that.
well, it's blue in real life. So
Is it? Okay.
yeah.
All right.
The thing I said to Sean, because Sean was talking about this being a snap tight, is that like it draws in people who watch the show to build a model. They're going to be really disappointed when they buy the other ones, and they're much more complicated than that.
I was going to say that's definitely marketed toward people that are just going to buy it, build it, and stick the decals on it. And
well, you know what? That's old school. Like back in the day when TV shows like Rat Patrol and whatnot, the Black Sheep Squadron got kids buying model airplanes and model tanks because they want to do what they just saw in the show. So I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, if that's the thing that bridges people that are building Gundams over to the model car automotive side of things, I'm all for it. So
100%.
Uncle Positivity.
Uncle Positivity.
Stop being a dick.
I'm thinking the same thing as Tim. Tim Custom said, does it come with a BA Baracus figure? I was looking at that van thinking the same thing. It's the 18 van without the wing on the back.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Like I said, get two of them. A Chevy van that says free candy on it, and the freaking GMC version that it says free models. So then you got the kidnapper van galore.
Go.
I was gonna say, but whether it put like a portable shower outside of it and be like, pre-venue showers available here.
There you go. Free models on the side of the doors doesn't open on, and then
yeah, exactly. Free pants. Get the free stuff showing up in your sweatpants.
So what other I mean, there was a ton of shows or ton of cars that have been featured on that show. What would have been your choice for an all new model to be made?
There's a BMW. I think it's a 825 because the US got like an 8 series instead of a 7 series like in 1983. It's a weird, little quirk of gray market importing, and like
we got one better than everybody else.
Yeah, I'd say that would have been because like there's a 6 series. It's the monogram, and to me, both did a 635, which is the coupe version,
right?
An 823. I think it's 823 is what the designation is the coupe version of the even bigger coupe that they sold as a 7 series in Germany. Like that'd be cool to have a mid 80s BMW. Like that's
I mean, I would take. They had a big LTD wagon.
Big LTD wagon. I think there was.
I would take that over
in that. There's there was a bunch of other.
That was the one that I was interested in. Was the LTD?
Yeah.
It's something that had to be in season 5 only, which apparently this van was. But like, I don't know. I because you look. Oh, it has to have like X number of versions to make a new tool of it. Okay, they might have 2. Maybe there's a non Stranger Things version of it in the future, but also it's not very complicated, and it's not there's not a lot of investment in that in the first place. So, like I said, if it drags people in, it's a good thing. As a established modeler, I have less than 0 interest in it. So
pretty much.
Coming to Ollie's. That's what I get.
Doing Ollie's near you. That's right.
Do we get a U.S. specific Reeboks with crappy decals in it that we have to go buy the Village German?
Yeah, they're stickers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next topic that has popped up, and this sort of got like split into 3 directions. I want to try to keep it as simple as possible. Was a thread popped up on one of the forums saying that asking the question, should 3D printed models, like entire kits, not just pieces, 3D printed models, should that be allowed in box stock? Now, as a judge, I'm going to say absolutely not, because the point of a box stock model is to build a plastic model kit out of a box. It has to have instructions, which basically no 3D printed model comes with. And 3D, box stock allows no aftermarket, which is entirely what a 3D printed model is. I don't know that you could put a Bezrodny file into box stock. It sort of goes outside the conformities of what box stock exists as. If you want to ask me, I would eliminate box stock entirely as a category, because it's like one of those trophy hunting places, because everything you build for box stock could go in a regular category, and I've won with box stock in regular categories before. Don't tell me it can't be done. So that, then it became should 3D printed models or models built with over a percentage of, which reminds me a lot of the IPMS scratch building rule. If it has so much scratch building, it has its own category. If it has an entirely 3D printed model or too much 3D printed parts in it, should that be its own category to keep those expensive, highfalutin 3D stuff out of the regular categories? Make it fair for the people the plebs just building plastic models, because it's not fair.
I'm going to start this off as soon as you're done. I'm going to start, so don't have anybody jump in.
Believe me, I got big opinions. I got big opinions on this one too.
Oh, you, buddy.
But as I think the youngest person in this call, I'm old enough to remember when this was a Scale Auto Enthusiast editors topic, where it was people who use resin and people who use photo etch and people who use turn metal, this, that, and the other thing are checkbook modeling, and it's not fair. And if you have that much aftermarket, it should go in its own category. Like, just because you spend a lot of money doesn't mean you can build a good model. We've all seen the end results of that on a contest table near you. It's not an automatic thing. Right. And at first I was going to tease like the 3D printed guys, are you scared of the plastic models? And then it very quickly turned into a bunch of fuddy-duddy plastic guys going, no, the 3D printed stuff should have its own category because it's not fair that they can afford all this stuff and I can't because I spent all my money on beer and alcohol and divorces. So...
Whoa. Easy there. Easy there.
I feel
one of the things I noticed about our podcast.
All those are expensive, but well worth it.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to address not the should it be allowed in box stock. I'm going to address the it's not fair. The part about this it's not fair thing that right now is making my pulse run is it shouldn't be a fucking competition. If you get rid of the competition aspect, it doesn't matter. I've been to plenty of shows, my club included, that are gold, silver, bronze, where your shit is judged on its own merit. And then it doesn't matter what the asshole next to you did. It doesn't matter how much that guy spent on whatever he did. If you did it right, you're going to get a gold, silver, or bronze. The guy next to you did it right, he's going to get a gold, silver, or bronze. So if we eliminate the competition part of the model building, the hobby, we won't have this. It's not fair. He spends money. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then as for the box stock, if it comes in a box, if it's a kit, whether you printed it or not, technically, yeah, that would be box stock. If someone designed it and you printed it, and then you didn't do anything other than clean up and assemble what you printed, sure, that could be considered box stock. But again, it shouldn't be a goddamn competition. Okay, I'm done.
All right.
Jason. I didn't do it.
Yeah,
It wasn't me.
okay.
It wasn't me.
Okay.
I'll take the opposing view on the box stock issue. So for me, I don't think there should be allowed in box stock. For one, there's the point of box stock is everybody starts with the exact same kit. At least, assuming you're going to buy the same kit, all the kits would be the same. If you get a 3D printed model, no two are the same. Like everyone's going to be slightly unique because just the printing process,
how you lay it out on your board, all that stuff. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
And I think the point, and I'm sure Mr. Tester will jump in here, but I think that from the point of I think box stock is an interesting category because it's more about I think the modeling craftsmanship. You're limited to the parts that come in the box so that it somewhat creates a level playing field within the point is to try to see who can have the highest level of craftsmanship and can apply that to. So as from a competition standpoint, I guess that is the point. And that feels like a fair thing to do, right? Like if you want to compete in contests and you like that style of building and that's something you want to do, I think that's fine. And I don't think 3D printed kits should be a part of that because it's just not within the spirit of that category.
Now, then could the category be adjusted? to include that 3D printed kit?
Well, that's why I go back. I think they're all different,
Right.
So it's hard to sort of measure one against the other, because even if you had two 3D, even if they came from the same file, if they came off two different printers, one could be much harder to deal with than the other. So even just getting that kit to the same level would require more skill than another one that was, maybe printed better.
But that same argument could be made between a Lindbergh kit, an AMT kit, and a Revell kit. So,
right.
You know what I mean? Like James said, get rid of the damn box stock. Just get rid of it. Or, like I said, get rid of the goddamn competition portion of it. Make it a juried exhibition.
I mean, that's
not everybody wants to do that, though.
I know.
Well, no, there's a lot of people that really do compete for that thrill of winning an award.
Yeah,
so
well, they're wrong.
You're facing some pretty stiff opposition when it comes to the.
No,
listen, I get it. With me, first, second, third, gold, silver, bronze doesn't matter to me. But there are people out there that feel very strongly, obviously, about their sides. So,
I mean, as a guy that's fairly new to the competition side and going to shows, it's really only been over the last couple of years, but spent many years in the VW community, right, competing with that. And it doesn't matter if you're competing at a regular car show, a model car show, a freaking quilting show. The competition piece of it is tricky, because if you go to a show like an NL East or maybe a good IPMS show, right? Good. Or like Classic Plastic, where you've got people that understand what they're looking at, it's really, I think it's just more of a fair judging versus you go to a show and nobody wants to judge models, cars, because they're all plain guys, and you put people in there that really are not, well versed in the subject to be looking at it to begin with. And then that really creates a lot of pissed off people, when really at the end of the day, you should just go and have a good time with your friends. The kudos are nice, but 3D printed versus non 3D printed parts, it's tough, because as a guy that's, as I said, fairly new to using that stuff, if I was scratch building and putting a pile of time in using all styrene parts and going above and beyond, right, the detail in that engine is just not going to be as good as a 3D printed engine. So I could work 6 months on something to make it perfect, right? And the one thing that's going to get me out of running a contention for a metal is the detail in a 3D printed engine, where everything else may just be mediocre enough to where it's like you're right there, But it goes back to what do you want out of the hobby and what you enjoy, If you want to go to a show and get a medal and be all pissed off at the end of the day if you didn't do better than what you thought you did, there's places for that. But I don't know.
Join a bowling team.
It really is a tough one, because hey, 3D printed stuff's great. I mean, the where it's taking model building, and I'm using it now too, and have bought a lot of stuff. It's amazing, but just to go buy a 3D printed kit, build it box stock or out of the box, I think it really should be its own category, separate from somebody building a plastic model kit. Because as you guys said, an AMT versus a Revell versus a Tamiya, there's a wide range. So how good does one do to make that thing look good? Understanding you need to have kind of some history, if you will, on the history of modeling to know that, hey, that's an AMT kit. He made that look really good. Where this guy did a fairly decent job, but that's a Tamiya kit, and that thing just falls together, But it's the subjectivity of the person looking at it ultimately is a decision of you getting something at the end of the day or not. And people take it too seriously, I think.
Yeah.
So
I definitely agree with the people take it too seriously. As far as, and this is just, again, being devil's advocate, I got both sides of this, but to get back to the initial question of box stock versus 3D printed. Now, if you're printing out a 3D printed kit, and Mr. Tester can speak to this because I know he does a lot of printing. I do zero printing, but I have a lot of friends that do it and send it to me. I find now you can get awesome 3D printed chassis by themselves, but I find as a whole, when you get a kit, it's got a pretty clunky chassis. I mean, they really, as a whole, when you get a whole kit, not that carry-all, the big international that you did, Sean. I have that. It's very, very clunky interior, very clunky. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. I'm not picking on it. It's great stuff, but if you compare it to say even a Revell chassis or something, it's clunky in comparison. So if you're comparing them like that, I want to say that they're, that gets down to how well it's built, right? It's still out of the box, technically off the file, out of the box. Is that the same thing? I think it is, but that is definitely a good argument. But the other side of that I'd like to bring up, as far as box stock, people are thinking Monogram, Tamiya box stock. They're thinking, even your Mobius box stock. What about my Scale Motorsports Porsche that I have over here? That is box stock with photo etch, with all that different stuff. It came in the box. It also comes in the DVD to tell you how to put it together. So that, I guess it's Medusa's hair, right? It's a ball of snakes, and depending on which snake you grab onto, or
an alpha model at that case, because that's box stock too. But
right, I mean, it just really gets kind of, you can get snowballed away with it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Again, I think Tim Klinkowitz said it best. If you're happy building it, you put it on the shelf or you put it on the table, and you're happy with it, what's it matter what category it's in, as long as you're playing by the rules and you're having fun with it. Me personally, I am not a big award-winning modeler. Everybody in this room,
well, you're big.
I'm big, but I'm not much of an award winner. But I enjoy putting my stuff down. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I would rather have a James Tester, James Duff, Sean, Tim, Justin, Jody, anybody that builds great and whatever, come up and pat me on the back for something I did. I'd rather get that than a best of show. And sure, I want to get an award for sure. I want other people to recognize my work. But if I don't get it, and somebody that I respect comes up and says, "Hey, you really did a good job on that paint. I saw your Volkswagen that looked good at 50 feet away or 50 miles an hour, but when you walked up to it, it looked like an orange peel. So I can see your progress. Good for you. I'll take that over an award any day."
And that's where the peer awards, the poker chips, the challenge coins, that's where those come into play. Or the People's Choice Awards, you know what I mean? The shows that do just People's Choice. That's where that comes into play.
I need to get some of those poker chips made.
Chip Labs. Pretty affordable, easy to do. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I just the past two shows I went to, I got a couple of poker chips from a couple different people, which is pretty neat. Like I'd never seen that before, so it's kind of a newer thing. That it's a neat trend that I think is really cool.
I like it.
Now I want to challenge all of you guys. Go to a show like the MFCA. Go to the show like the MMSI out in Chicago, where they do judge solely on what you've brought to the table, and feel the energy difference in the room when you put your stuff out on the table. It is completely different. Because you're not there. It's not a competition. You're judged on your artistry, on your build quality, your artistry, everything that you put into that, you're judged on. They look at it, and they look at almost like who you are as a modeler, more than just, well, your 32 Ford wasn't quite as good as that 32 Ford. So he gets the gold, you get the silver.
Yeah, I'd like to add one thing to that whole gold, silver, bronze debate too. And I've seen it in the chat. I've heard it countless times before. Gold, silver, bronze is just a participation award. That is not true. Just because it's a gold, silver, bronze show doesn't mean you're getting any one of the three. You can put something on the table and get nothing.
Thank you for participating. Literally what it said on my card. Thank you for participating.
With the MFCA show. I'm proud of the work I put up. I put up because it's my club. I don't care. Like, what am I going to do with all of these awards? My kids are just going to throw that shit out when I die. You know what I mean? I don't care. I put it out on the table just to show off what I'm doing because I'm proud of it. But, you know, I forget where I was going with that. Holy shit.
We're getting closer to the bottom of the glass of bourbon.
Scotch, but yes.
And there's a sign to move to the next topic.
It could be. Very well could be. But yeah, I definitely, the splits, IPMS, you know, everybody calls gold, silver, bronze a participation trophy. Well, then you go into an IPMS show. Now we'll just talk airplanes. You got single engine World War II. Double engine World War II, 4-engine bomber World War II. You got Cold War jets, you got Vietnam era jets, you got 2-engine jets, 3-engine jets, 4-engine jets. Like how is that any less of a participation trophy when there's infinite number of splits that everybody's going to get a first, second, or third in?
Yeah.
Boom. Mic drop. Next subject, please.
I will say, I from the competition aspect of it, box stock can be fun. Just simply for the fact that it's you and the model and your skills on display. You don't
100%.
have any of the other crap. How well can you build a model? 2, if you don't like the fact that you're losing at a competitive model show, build a better model. 3, as the head automotive judge of a club that runs gold, silver, bronze and has for 2 decades now, it's not a participation award. The thing I love most about judging that show is when people tap me on the shoulder and go, "Hey, you forgot to put something out on for that." No, I didn't. Not at all.
You just weren't as good as you thought you were, buckaroo.
If you look at a show like SMC, which is the show that was just held over in Belgium, which is everybody considers it to be the pinnacle of the thing, and I've not been to it, so I can't comment to it. But it seems like it's a really, really good model show. There's levels to it. Advanced, intermediate, beginner, and all that stuff. There have been many years where the advanced category, because it's a gold, silver, bronze open judging system, has been judged so harshly, if you want to call it that, or correctly, that there have been no golds given out.
Yeah. And
it is a very good possibility if a gold, silver, bronze show is judged correctly. That means by people who actually know what they're doing and not like, hey, we need judges. Come learn how to do this in 3 minutes before we go run you out there.
Yeah. And we'll give you pizza.
Then, yeah, exactly. We'll give you free lunch. I think that's one of the things about the Cleveland model show on their flyer is free lunch for judges. So I already know that's going to be a hoot nanny up there. That
hoot nanny. You're stealing my words now.
that I don't, at our show, I try, we give out golds in automotive, maybe 10, maybe 15 on a good year. Guess what? On a regular model contest that has 18 to 25 categories, that's less first places than you would get if you had just gone to a regular contest.
Absolutely.
And I find I will find something, because it's a chat conversation over here, is that car modelers especially have this weird thing where they either don't want to compete at all. So you have your NNLs and you have your other display only type of shows, or they demand a first, second, third competition. We're either fighting to the death in the parking lot or we're being best of friends. There's no in between.
Yeah.
I guess it's because gold, silver, bronze has never really made it into the car modeling world, really. Yeah. Unless you go to an IPMS show. And of course, there's a large or small, hard to tell, but very loud contingent of people that would never go to an IPMS show because it's International Plane Modeling Society and they don't know what they're doing. Go volunteer to judge then, If you want to help, if you want car modelers to judge an IPMS show, judge the IPMS show or join the IPMS club. Yeah. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea necessarily, but the only way to sort of improve that is to be involved with it.
Be the change you want to see.
Exactly. Complaining on the sidelines, it's not going to help. And if you want to compare your clunky chassis to your not clunky chassis, well, you hold the model 6 feet up off the table and you shine a flashlight on it.
Right up its
So we were going to avoid that one.
Oh no, we never discussed this. I don't even think these two guys know what I'm talking about. But...
Oh, I know.
I am serious about wanting to see some car guys come down to the MFCA show in the spring. We do. It is a figure show, quote unquote, but we have what's called an ordnance class, where that's anything that's not figures. And the way we work it is, if you say you put out 4 cars, the judges will come through. The first thing they do is determine the best one that you have there, and they judge that one. So you're not going to get 2 golds, a silver, and a bronze. You're not going to get 4 golds. You're going to get 1 for what you put out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would like to see some more automotive models on our tables at MFCA. So keep that in mind, guys.
Yeah, you should probably build a couple then.
I really like judging it to itself. How did you build it? Did you, perform? If you're building a custom hot rod, well, did you do everything that you needed to do to make that perfect, like a custom hot rod would?
Mm-hmm.
And I personally love, feedback. What is it going to take to kind of take that next step and keep progressing forward? I mean, you surround yourself with good people and good model builders, right, that are going to keep you on your toes. But the guy that was tapped earlier that day to do the judging of the show is not the guy that you're going to get that from.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So adjacent topic, and Mikey got a little preview of this when we were talking 3D printing in the parts department. We all have, well, I don't, because yes, I have multiples of stuff back here, but race cars, I have decals to do these all in different versions. But people who have huge stashes for the parts aspect of it, I need such and such engine. I like this kit because it has this wheel. I like this kit because it has this set of interior or this set of whatever. Does 3D printing and its proliferation, because God, you can print your own stuff, and there's all the MCVs and Resin by Reese and all the Iceman, all those people out there. I don't want to leave anybody off, but I can't name everybody. We'll be here all night. Does that ability to buy the things you need rather than buy 10 kits for what you need now eliminate the need to have a giant model stash? And corollarily,
No.
does this partially kill the vending at shows? Because there's a buddy of mine, he LS'd everything, right? And for years that we went to shows, he bought every $5 Corvette he came across to get every $5 LS engine that he came across. Well, you don't need to do that anymore because you just buy all the LS engines or buy the file and print them at home.
No. I say buy what you want.
I'm going to say no.
Who cares how big your stash is? Really?
I don't know. That's not a big
cares?
stash. I'm just saying, just from the aspect of needing multiples, you don't need the multiples anymore.
You don't need the multiples. I have
If that's the reason why you
some
have
odd
the
kits. I have 600 some odd kits here, and I just gave all my multiples to Justin 2 weeks ago. I don't have multiples, right?
I'm looking at 10 Corvette kits over here for LS swaps when I can just go buy. So that I can just go buy now. So I kind of feel like an idiot that I bought all those because I'm not going to use them for anything else other than that. So.
Yeah. I don't think you need to buy multiple.
I mean, as a guy that likes to scratch build and kit bash and all that stuff, I mean, ultimately, I think you need to have options and more than one thing to get where you need to be. The 3D printing does obviously help you get closer to that. If you have the ability to do it yourself, maybe do your own design, get you even further to that, right? You guys had Stoke Models on here recently, and that guy's amazing, but he's doing a lot of work himself to kind of get that look. Where I, will get an idea and then go kind of look through the stash. A Corvette kit's a good starting platform for a lot of stuff, a little bit of work. You can get it under a lot of things and get you moving in the right direction versus going and buying a 3D printed chassis that may or may not work. I don't know that ultimately gets rid of everything. Yeah. It would make the stash smaller, but kind of like Jason, I don't really have a lot of duplicates over here. I've got singular things that are going to be something,
Mm-hmm. Well, I see in the chat. I see here in the chat is a 3D printed LS $5 though. Good point.
Well, no, they're not.
No, it isn't. But how many of them are you really going to end up using, though? Like, we all have gigantic model stashes because it caught our eye. We went, I have an idea for that. And then you bought it. And then your kids are going to end up selling it on eBay. It's I love having as many model kits as I am. This is not am I a hoarder discussion. It's not a should we have smaller stashes discussion. I just think from the aspect of people, because you see it, right? The round 2 is going to release some kit that's been out 950,000 times, and there's somebody going, I need 3 of those because it comes with a set of wheels I like. Well, you could just buy buy the file for the wheels, print them yourself, because you're never going to use all 3 sets of the wheels anyway. And now you just, one set, one file, one print. It's $15 versus the $50 you paid on model kits that are just hanging out and you're never going to use them, and they're just going to sit there and
Yeah.
And somebody's sitting around going like, I tried to sell these kits, but I can't get rid of them. I have 10 Corvette bodies and interiors with no chassis or transaxles. I don't know what I'm going to do with these things.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we all have delusions of grandeur of the things we're going to do. And when you start buying
100%.
things specifically for the parts for the things you're going to do,
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you really ever going to get around to those?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kit bash quite a bit. That 68 Dart that I built for the yellow one I was telling you about that I built for Acme, that actually has a chassis out of the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s SDP Pontiac Pro Stock. Now, could I have used one of MCS, one of those really cool chassis? If I had a 3D printer at the time and I could have printed me up one, I probably would have done that. But that chassis, the wheelbase fit, and all I had to do was raise the cage up a little bit, widen it, kit bash it, and scratch build it a little bit, and it fit in there perfect. So to have those options for me, not having a printer, was pretty handy to be able to do that. You know, I mean, it led to me getting those chassis, those 3D printed chassis, and now that I can put in all kinds of different stuff, right? So I'm working on that now. But I've never bought. I mean, we'll use Fred Henry for an example. I know he doesn't mind us using him. That's anytime he bumped up on a 67 Chevelle, he always bought the kit for that very reason. The back half, a Nova, the back half, anything else. He's always done that. And now with 3D printed stuff, he's even said from Matthew, he can get a back half kit. He doesn't have to buy those Chevelles anymore. He can just buy the back half kit and be done with it. So I think that does 3D printing eliminate, or does it slow down sales at venues or at the shows? I guess technically possibly, because we're not having to buy those, like James said, don't have to buy those same Corvettes to get that motor. You can now get it from there. But I don't vend a lot. I vend a little bit, but I don't know. I don't hear anybody complaining about sales being down at shows.
I was going to say, I was just at 2 shows. Not only did I leave with a lot of stuff, but those vendor aisles were full all day.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's affecting them guys at all.
I mean, it's like a lot of thing with the hobby, though. There's an age diversity that really spans, right? The guy that's been using spray paint, right? The unnamed spray paint, right? That guy probably is not buying 3D printed parts.
No.
Right. But you got a lot of us kind of in that technology range or age range where we are, right? Right across everything, automotive, military, right? Because all that stuff's available on the other side of things too. But, could it eventually be to a point where it's like, 50-50 or something? Well, maybe eventually, but I think the want to buy a kit based off box art and the kits we had as kids, right? When you see that and it brings those memories back, 3D printing is never going to replace that. You're always going to buy that kit at the show, right? Because I came home with 3 armfuls of stuff from 3 shows for that exact reason. When I said, I'm not buying anything else. I stopped buying, 3 years ago. And
how many times just last weekend did I say, all right, I'm done buying stuff? And then you and I would walk over to the vendor aisle and you'd be like, hey, that's a good deal. Like, all right, twist my arm.
Hey, man, this is a $5 kit. Yeah.
All right.
Well, the one thing you are seeing in the vendor area is more 3D printed vendors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I really think it's a good thing. I mean, it's a great time to be a model builder right now, but
the hobby's dying.
Yeah, I know. That's what they say. I don't see it, but
no.
Now if we could just get Mr. Surface or 1500 black primer.
I know.
So I have heard though that the MCW black primer is almost 100% spot on to the Mr. Surfacer stuff.
That's good to know.
Oh, really?
So I actually just ordered a bottle, I think maybe 2 bottles of their black and a bottle of their olive green. So I will I'll be the guinea pig. I'll test it and let you know.
Cool.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that's good
absolutely.
Stuff.
I like to tinker. I'm a mad scientist over here.
Yeah.
Does it come pre-thinned or unthinned?
That I'm not 100% on. I'll let you all know though.
Because I'm cheap. I like to buy unthinned and thin the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So on that note, this is of course the expensive version. I wanted to talk on this as well because you guys talked about the MCW version of Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. This is House of Color Slow Reducer. Works spectacular with the MIG Atom and the MIG Cobra paints. Works almost identical to Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. Now, like I said, this is the expensive version because it's House of Color. I just happened to be on Coast Airbrush buying some other stuff, and I said, throw that in my basket too, just to give it a shot. But a good friend of mine who has passed away since, BJ DeBecker, he and I were involved in a conversation of looking at the MSDS of Mr. Color Leveling Thinner, and he found that it was very, very similar in ingredient list to PPG Slow Reducer. So you're probably going to be okay with your lacquer paints using an automotive-based slow reducer. You want a high temperature reducer. That will make it slow.
I've always wondered about reducers versus thinner.
It's the same thing, different words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got some medium reducer over here. I bet that would probably work as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And I use medium reducer, so I use a lot of 2K clear as well. And I'll do the 2 parts clear, 1 part fast hardener usually, and then I'll thin it by about a half with medium reducer. And that seems to be a pretty good formula to get that stuff to lay down really nice.
Yeah.
So next topic of discussion. You guys mentioned this in your first podcast in passing, and it's something that gets brought up all the time. And we're going to use Jason as the primary example here. Sorry, Jason. Is the idea that there are certain kits in your collection, no matter what they happen to be subject matter wise, we all know they're the black box Tamiya car kits, that for a reason or another, you feel that your skills are not good enough, quote unquote, and so you avoid them and you build things instead. Jason has said on multiple occasions that he wants to build airplanes. He picked one of the shittiest model airplanes he could possibly have found to do. I contend. Now, I build a lot of stuff. I don't finish anything. That's my problem. I build a lot of stuff. There's not been a model kit I've come across where I've gone like, I don't know if I really want to build that right now. I'm not, I don't have the scared of the model problem. And I just think that, and it's like not picking on Jason, but it was, an interesting subject matter choice when you have other, better kits to choose from. It's like, I don't necessarily agree with that premise of I'm going to take this other thing that's crappier than the thing I want to build. And if I build enough crappy things over a course of time, it'll make me a quote unquote good enough modeler to build the good thing. Because the good thing is going to, comparing the SE kit to any other Hornet that's made or just a Tamiya kit in general, like the Tamiya kit's going to be a completely different build experience than that SE kit is going to be. The Tamiya, Mercedes Gullwing is a different build than the Italeri Mercedes Gullwing. It's a different build than any AMT kit that's been made prior to like 1990. It's going to be a different build than any Revell kit prior to 1989. I don't understand. Like, what is the question here is, what is your plan for getting better? So, like, what is it you're going to do? I don't think that building 52 SE kits is going to make you a good enough modeler to build a single engine Tamiya, P51. It's not a comparable skill set. If you want to build, me and James, right, we're in the high-end resin business over here, hawking these $180 resin kits. Building an AMT Pinto is not going to prepare you to build a multimedia resin kit. It's not at the all. Same ball.
Right. Even if you build 1,000 of them.
I get the idea that you don't want to ruin the expensive model, but at the same time, it's the resin aside, but it's a Tamiya kit. It's a $50 kit. I get it. It's the $10 Ollie's kit is preferable to ruin than the $50 Tamiya kit, but the only way you're going to ever build the Tamiya kit is to build the Tamiya kit.
Fair enough. So first thing I want to say is thank you for picking on me. I was feeling ignored over here. Second thing I want to say is this is the type of stuff I need you to talk to me about before I start this stuff, James. So this is going to be your fault
No, hell no. Put you right on
How
the
was I
spot,
supposed to know
man.
you were going to do that?
Listen, Uncle Positivity. Nobody was talking to you. Okay.
Sink or swim, baby. Sink or swim.
So, yes, I did not want to ruin. I really haven't seriously put together a plane kit and wanted it to be nice. I have a couple of Revell monogram garbage kits hanging from the ceiling because that's what the intention was, to throw it together in a weekend and hang it on my ceiling. I wanted to do a really good job on this, and I didn't want to ruin a nice kit. So that is basically it. And the rest of the thought process before that just went out the window because you made no sense of it. The basic of it is I didn't want to screw up a nice kit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm looking at. It's like the first time
plastic.
Okay. The first time I built that tank for the turkey shoot, I had no idea what I was getting into then either. And I was nervous because I'm like, I've only got one tank kit. Fast forward a year, I've got like a lot. I didn't want to ruin it, but I was nervous the whole time I built it. I figured this completely garbage kit that was given to me, if I can put that together and fight my way through it and find out if I even enjoy it, then I'll continue on and work up to the nicer stuff. That was my thought process. And as it turns out, I am. I'm having a good time.
Your last statement made more sense. Like that totally, you didn't want to go right into the $80 kit to find out you didn't like it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, that's some of it, but I think it's building of the skills, right? I mean, we should all be reminded of just basic modeling skills. I think everybody should start out an old shitty AMT kit, fight their way through it, do a few of those, make it look good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm serious because then when you get over to a Tamiya kit that just falls together, it's just that much easier, you know?
Yeah.
Slice some of those hood rats,
totally
right?
disagree with
you. I mean, we've got so many tools available at their disposal now. Glues, the products that we have made it so much better. It's like, I'm not saying that you're constantly relearning, but there's so much stuff that comes along that we try that there's like a learning curve to all those things. So
I get you. Can we talk about holding models up in the air or something?
No.
I mean, once you pick all those things, right? And it's like, I've got a good system that works and I have the knowledge and skills. So when you do an old shitty AMT kit and it comes out pretty good, it's like, well, an AMT kit should come out really nice, right?
You would think, yeah.
All right. So
isn't the danger though that if you build a crappy tank kit and you have a bad experience because the tank kit is crappy, that colors your opinion of building tanks at that point? Like, I did not have fun building this tank at all. It sucked. I fought with it the whole time, and now I don't. I have no interest in this at all.
It could.
So to go to bat for Jason, quote unquote. I have no, seriously, Jason. This is a good one for you. I'm on your side on this. I have a Wingnut Wings biplane. That kit scares the shit out of me. You know, I mean, look, I know I can build it, but it scares the shit out of me because they're not in production anymore. And I got that one at a what would be considered a extremely discounted price by today's standards, you know, but I have a whole line of kits that I'm going to work my way up to that Wingnut Wings kit. Yeah. Because it's a kit. It's
well,
it's
like,
expensive, it's high quality.
Yeah. I'm like learning how to fill seams and gaps. And trust me, this plane has gaps big enough to throw Jonesy through. And it's like, I don't want to, my thought process, like I said, was I don't want to, like, if I destroy this thing, it was given to me.
Right.
Who cares? Right. So that's where I was at with that. That's why I figured start with the worst kit I've got.
But to James's point,
I love this kit, but I'm scared to death to build this because it's very fragile. There's a lot of chrome. You know, this thing needs to go together a certain way. And I love this kit and this car and Ed Roth, right? Yeah. But I've always put these things aside because I feel I need to be at a certain mental level to be able to pull this off to where it does, you know, it you're doing a service to the kit and the guy who designed this thing, but that thing's a bear. Any of these old Revell show kits were just terrible. They didn't fit together good. And there's a lot of basic skills that you need to kind of put one of these things together.
Right.
You're in an advantage, Jody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you have better adhesives now than they had back then.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Could you imagine doing that with orange tube glue? Ooh.
No.
Oh, I know.
Right, exactly.
I built a road agent that I started building with tube glue. That thing sat in the box for 15 plus years. I just pulled it out earlier this year and kind of picked it up and pulled it apart and picked all the tube glue off and then went back and put it back together, and it actually turned out pretty decent. So,
but you also have to take into account and again, I'm coming with a perspective of the aircraft and armor modeling world where manufacturers are putting a lot of money into the engineering of their kits. So before they're even molded, their tests, everything fits perfect. So to James's point, Jason, you were leery of your seam filling skills. So you're going to go with that kit that you were given, which, like I said, totally makes sense. But I've got a Hobby Boss Super Hornet. I guarantee you that if I need to use any kind of filler for that, it's probably because I screwed something up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that aspect to it as well. And again, I'm not picking on you. I get where you're coming from. We're just using you as the example.
Thanks.
Well, I would have been using BG as an example, but he's not here. So.
Exactly.
Right.
He's on
Fair
vacation.
enough. No, it's okay. I'm game. Use me as an example. It's fine.
No, I just think you said all the seam filling and stuff like that, but yeah, you wouldn't have had to if you had built a Tamiya kit. So it's a skill to build for sure. It's handy to have. It'll be applicable through everything you ever do, but also unnecessary.
But I think kicking Jason out of this. Jason, you're done. Bye. You're not the victim anymore.
I appreciate that. See you guys.
I think the average modeler that has that mindset does look at it from a the quote unquote financial standpoint of that is a friggin' expensive kit. Am I up to the standard of that?
Yeah.
Like Jody said, that his is a rare kit. His is an old kit that's not in production anymore.
Yeah.
I've got the Wingnut Wings kit that's not in production anymore, and it's expensive. So it's not.
That's not where I was coming from. I wasn't coming from it from a monetarily standpoint. I've got a few Tamiya kits that James is right. I definitely could have jumped into a Tamiya kit and been fine probably, but the detail on those is so nice. I didn't want to screw it up. I have,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I said,
do
Jason,
the kit justice is what I was.
My statement was not relegated to you. I wanted you to be not the subject of the statement. You know what I mean? And more of the average modeler that avoids the model they don't think they're up to snuff to build. Overall, it's just plastic. Have at it.
Yeah.
Yep. True story.
And then, like in my case, I have the Tamiya 300 GL Gullwing. Not a hard to find kit, not overly expensive, but I also the kit that I have to go with that is that Hero Boy wide body kit, right? And I know that's $130 just for the wide body kit. I have 100% confidence in my ability to build that, to put that all together, to put that wide body kit on there, and it looked really great. But what is my weak point? It's been my weak point, and it's getting better, but my weak point is my paint jobs. So I wanted to let my paint skills come up to snuff with the rest of my building skills. That's why it sits over there, and the Hero Boy stuff sits up there.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to get my painting skills to there. I feel like my building skills are fine, but I to have that, not even for the money, but to have what it is, right? It's not necessarily a rare car, but that Hero Boy wide body kit, and it needs to be done justice. All that could be great in plastic, and I hit it with one of my orange peel paint jobs, and then it's not doing the kit in justice. So my point was I'm letting my paint skills catch up to that. That's what I'm working on now.
And
does anybody else feel that? What about James Tester, Sean? I mean, do you guys ever feel that there's something out there that I just need to get better at before I feel I'm going to tackle that? Or
I'm not a scratch builder at all.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that limit me. I do a lot of box stock because I don't do scratch building. So I hate body work. So I would like to learn to do putty better as well.
I'm probably brave enough to just try anything. Like I don't think I have any kits that I would be afraid to tackle. It's more for me about just getting distracted by something else.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I say, and for the record, when Jason approached me about this whole I'm going to build an airplane thing because Jody talked him into doing it, what I told him to build was this.
Yes, exactly.
There is a Pinto model readily available. You can get, I don't know what this where you can steal the wings off this, but a 1/48 scale, something or another could have donated the rest of this.
Oh yeah,
That was a flying, and it's a car.
That's the Pinto.
That would have been better for sure. Yeah.
yes, it would have been. Yeah, exactly.
And if you didn't finish it, you could just put the parts on the table because this thing crashed and killed the guy who invented it. So it's a winner either way.
All right. So lesson learned. I need to listen to my friends more.
Did it explode from the back? Is that how that crashed?
That's exactly what we were in while I was taxiing.
somebody built a model of that Pinto, that flying Pinto, because I've seen that before. On a, I don't know, years ago. I know somebody, I don't know who built it, but I know somebody's built a replica of that.
It's pretty cool. That would make a great replica, actually.
That is cool.
And there's always the flying, what was it, Matador, I think it was, that was in James Bond, right? So there's
yeah, right.
I don't think that actually got off the ground in real life, but it's still plain.
At a risk of chasing rabbits, I used to ride bulls back in the day, and a buddy of mine's dad had a Cessna airplane. And it was a regular Cessna. It wasn't a Pinto Cessna. I mean, it was a regular Cessna. But when we would fly to like Little Rock, Arkansas, East Texas and that thing, it did feel like you were going 200 miles an hour in a Volkswagen. It really did feel like you were going 200 miles an hour. It was very scary.
All right. So as we wrap up the evening here, rather than having everybody do their open opus magnum build, because that would take forever. Plus, I think we might grab these guys individually next year as the schedule goes on, and we can have those more in-depth discussions with them. And then, of course, Jason's just going to fill in as a host. He's already volunteered for that. So, yep. This is the time of year where people start thinking, obviously, about the future. And I'm always very entertained when people make out a list of everything I'm going to build for the next year. Right? Because it's always like, you don't even know what's coming out next year. How can you make a list for the entire year when you don't even know what model kits you could build next year? So around the room, quickly for everybody, what are your, just a preview of coming attractions, what are your plans for 2026? Because for us, we've got one more show coming up after this, and then we're done for the holidays until next year. So Mr. Tester, do you have any other than building everything PZY sends you?
Everything PZY.
Do you have any?
Everything.
Do you have anything that's no? Seriously, is there anything that's sort of tickling your fancy for next year? And something you'd like to get accomplished?
Something 12 scale. I haven't built it in a while.
You built that. You did buy that brand new Caterham there, or not brand new, but the Caterham Super 7, the big one.
That's really neat. Yeah,
something big scale.
Sean.
I've got 6 models on my bench right now. I'd like to at least get one of those finished. So that's a goal. I'd also like to build another 3D printed kit. So I've picked up, I don't know, 5 or 6 recently, and so I've got a taste for them. I'd like to get another one done.
You got a Can-Am almost finished for you too.
Nice.
That'll be fun to see. He stole my answer too, which is just finish something next year. Jody?
I'm very fortunate that I do work with the Auto Modeler magazine, the kit reviews and write-ups. So with that, I never know really what's coming. I mean, obviously we know what's coming because we kind of talked about some of that stuff tonight, but whatever opportunities come along with that. I'm about a year of planning 4 months or so into a European American inspired gasser build currently, which is full on scratch build. I mean, it's a lot of work, 3D printed parts. I really am trying to get that done for the beginning of next year. And it's going to take a while because I like to do a really nice paint on that. But I think when you go to shows, you get inspired and then you come back, look at your stash, and then you look at the new 3D printed parts coming. And that combination of all those things is really what drives kind of the next build, And as we said, maybe show themes or something like that could be a trigger of inspiration to do that. But ultimately, I think it's just the things that we see out there is the thing that ultimately gets me to the next thing, And I'm always looking forward to that next build. So
2026, the year of the squirrel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Justin,
I like models.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I don't really try to plan too far ahead of what I'm going to do because, things like this Sherman buddy build came up. You know what I mean? Like, and that changes things around. The fact that I got tagged for the Musaru Cup, that changed some things around. So
yeah.
I got some ideas in the pipeline. One of the things I'd like to do is like, the outside the figure world, they would call it a shadow box. Inside the figure world, we call it a box diorama. I would like to do something along the lines of like a beach surf scene with a couple of surf wagons, some surfboards. This past summer, we spent some time at Virginia Beach, and we ended up plopping our stuff down right next to the lifeguard tower. So I got to sit there and stare at this lifeguard tower. I'm like, I could scratch build one of those for a little, diorama thing. So that's something that I'll probably start working on. I don't know when it'll be finished, but I'll probably start working on the fleshing out the concepts of it. I got some armor that I'd like to build or even to finish. I got some that are just kind of languishing, waiting for 3D printed tracks to be able to be designed for, or, I got so much shit that I'm like, yeah. Oh, you know what? I want to build an F-117 Nighthawk. Oh, but I also have that F-89 Scorpion. Oh, but I have that 350th scale aircraft carrier with all of the, the full flight deck full of aircraft and figures. And, so I try not to look too far ahead and just kind of go with the flow.
Mr. Outlaw.
My biggest goal for 2026 in the way of building is to get the hideout done. Those of you may have seen, I got that 12 by 40 building. I want to get it wired and all done on the inside so I can move my studio out there and build out there, do all the YouTube live casts and all that stuff from out there. But in the way of building, I've got a 32 Ford that I've been buying 3D printed parts for, picking up photo etch for about 6-8 months now. And that one's in my my bullpen, if you will. And I also got a Frankie Steffen sent me a bunch of the Coach Builder AMXs, Javelins. I got like one of each of those, so I'm excited about building them. And thanks to my new friend Sean, I got to get my travel all out of the box and try and see if I can't keep up with them. So we've added that one to the list. But no, the biggest thing for next year, actually by spring, I hope to have the hideout all finished out and be able to move everything out to there and get my bedroom back.
Mikey, after looking at Sean's, just take your travel all, take it out, throw it on the ground, and just
stomp on it. Send it back to Frankie. Send it back to Frankie and say, "Give this to somebody who's worthy."
Go to the next show you go to. Throw it in the kit raffle. There you go.
That's only if you're into competition. If you're into gold, silver, bronze, different story.
There you go. Right.
Right on a black magic marker. Thanks to Sean.
And Jason.
I'm going to build whatever happens to strike my fancy or whatever group build idea one of my buddies comes up with is what I'm going to do. I don't want to think ahead too much. that being said, there are two things I would like to get done next year. My friend Tim Ryan and I, we have been talking about building 16th scale funny cars for quite a while now, and I've amassed the aftermarket decals and all that to do one of those, and so is he. So I'd like to think that him and I could do that, and I'd like to get the FAMO kit done. I bought that kit thinking that it was going to be my winter project, and I really want to stick to that. So once the snow is flying and it's too cold to do things outside of this room, I'd like to break that open and not give myself a deadline. Maybe just get it done next year at some point, because that is quite a big, detailed kit. But those two things I'd like to do. Can't promise I will, but I'd like to.
So basically,
You
the
said
family
earlier,
starts
James.
next week.
2026, the year of the squirrel.
Right. So what did you say? The FAMO is what?
Starts next week then, because it's going to start snowing any day. I mean,
Don't you curse me
freezing
like
weather
that.
down here already. So.
Bite
It
your
was-
tongue off.
I was going to say it was 61 degrees here today. So
Yeah, it was nice.
granted, it was raining, but
Yeah, I'm going to build my FAMO just as soon as it starts snowing here.
Well, Mike, for you, that's usually precipitated by the frozen falling iguanas.
Right, that's South
Right,
Florida.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a real thing. It's just South Florida.
And you four guys, real quick, your socials.
VW Jody, Instagram.
Blue Ox Model Shop everywhere.
Scale Model Outlaw everywhere. And
Ryan's
Justin will leave the podcast and all that up to your fancy voice that you use at those numbers.
Yeah, so you can find all of us at modelpodcast.com, the consortium website for all of your podcasting needs and wants. Anyhow, you can find me at Ryan's Random Model Works, both on Facebook and on Instagram.
All of those links are in the description. The link to these guys' podcast. Well, that's great grammar and speaking. These gentlemen and their podcast, the Model Car Mania Podcast. The link to their Buzzsprout is in the description. So it should be available on pretty much any podcasting service. I use iHeart. Their podcasts have popped up over there. So if you can't find it on your podcast service, you can go to that link and listen to the podcast over there. I'd ask you when the next one's dropping. Brian's not here, so you probably don't know. But
No clue.
they've got two more in the chute, so they're ready to go. And again, all their social links are down there too, so check them out. There's the Model Car Mania Facebook group as well. Check that out if you want to be kept up to date on all the things they're doing, as well as when they're dropping things. And I want to thank these four gentlemen for coming on tonight, spending their Monday night with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
No, thanks for
Nice
having me.
meeting you guys.
It was great.
Nice
Thank you.
meeting y'all.
So I appreciate you here, and like I said, I'm sure we'll be intermingling in the future as time goes on. But if nothing else, we'll see everybody in I don't know, Mikey's going to make that flight, but we're going to see everybody else in New Jersey.
Exactly.
At least, if
I'm
nothing else.
And
trying
at
to
least-
get there. I'm trying to get there.
So, James, I know you're out in the Pittsburgh area. You should make the ride out to Amps Nats. It's in South Bend, Indiana, this coming spring. I will be heading there from southeastern Pennsylvania, so I don't want to hear any freaking excuses.
I have a couple of planes, but I have zero armor.
That's all right. Come out for the show just to check it.
Perfect place to pick up some armor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's how
I'm
it begins.
I'm already making one trip to Indiana this year. I don't need to make two.
That sounds like someone's just afraid of seeing an armor show.
Terrified. all these dirty brown things.
Dirty brown. Wow, that sounds gnarly.
And with that, we can see you guys on the other side.
Peace
Thanks,
out.
everyone.
See you guys.
Model on, y'all. Model on.
T's and P's, all y'all.